My dear friends, have you ever noticed how some people only realize your value when you finally stop showing up for them? When you stop calling, stop texting, stop explaining yourself, and suddenly they begin to notice your silence more than they ever noticed your presence. It's strange, isn't it? When you're always available, people take you for granted. But the moment you distance yourself, they start missing you. So today, let's reflect on something powerful. Why sometimes the best way to be valued is to step back. We live in a world that celebrates constant connection, always online, always reachable, always responding. But in this rush to be everywhere for everyone, we forget one thing: our energy is not unlimited. When you give too much of yourself to people who don't appreciate it, you end up drained, disappointed, and disconnected from your own peace. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Sometimes distance teaches what presence could not. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for others and for yourself is to let them miss you. Because when you step back, people get a chance to step up. When you stop chasing, they start realizing. And when you give space, you create value. So today, my dear friends, let's understand the art of letting them miss you, not out of ego, but out of self-respect, wisdom, and emotional balance. My dear friends, have you ever felt the pain of being forgotten while you're still standing right there? You show up for people, care for them, support them, and yet somehow they stop seeing your effort. It's one of the quiet heartbreaks of life to be present, but unseen. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to walk away for a while. Not in anger, not in ego, but in silence. Because silence doesn't mean disconnection. It means giving space for appreciation to grow. Think about it. When you're always available, when you keep showing up, no matter how others treat you, your presence becomes ordinary. People start to take you for granted, the same way we take the air we breathe for granted. We only notice its importance when it shifts, when it's gone, when we can't breathe as easily anymore. That's what happens when you take a step back. Your absence begins to whisper what your presence could never shout. When you stop chasing, something magical happens. People start to notice the void. They feel the silence where your laughter used to be, the emptiness where your energy once filled the room. They begin to realize all the little things you did, the messages you sent, the comfort you offered, the warmth you brought, things they once brushed off. Your calls they ignored now seem precious. Your advice they dismissed now echoes in their mind. Your presence, once so easily available, suddenly becomes something they miss. You see, my friends, we often think that love means staying constantly available, endless, explaining, continuously proving. But that's not love. That's attachment disguised as effort. True love, true care needs space. Just as the night sky needs darkness to let the stars shine, relationships sometimes need distance to rediscover light. Absence doesn't destroy connection, it refines it. It gives people the chance to see your worth without you constantly reminding them. When you take a step back, you're not punishing anyone, you're protecting your peace. You're allowing gratitude to breathe again. Because if you keep watering a plant non-stop, it drowns. But when you give it just enough water, light, and air, it flourishes. The same is true for people. When you stop over-giving, over-explaining, and over-chasing, you create space for others to come forward if they truly care. That's when you see who values you and who only valued your convenience. Absence isn't a wall, it's a mirror. It shows people who they really are when you're not around. And if they realize your worth, if they miss your laughter, your warmth, your presence, your silence has done what your words could not, but if they don't notice, then your absence has given you the answer your presence never could. So don't fear stepping back. Don't be afraid of the quiet that follows. In that quiet, understanding begins. Let them feel your absence, not out of pride, but out of wisdom. Because that's when appreciation is born. That's when people realize you weren't just around, you were holding their world together. Your energy, my friends, is sacred. It is not something that everyone deserves unlimited access to. Every moment you give your time, your love, your attention is a piece of your life you'll never get back. Yet, so often, we hand it out freely to people who only take, never give. Protecting your energy doesn't mean you've become selfish. It means you've finally understood your worth. It means you've realized that not everyone deserves a seat at your table, and not every call deserves to be answered. There are people who will drain you without even realizing it. They will take your kindness as weakness, your patience as permission, and your presence as obligation. And if you keep pouring into others without refilling yourself, you will eventually find your soul empty with nothing left for the one person who needs you most. You, your peace, your happiness, your clarity. These are treasures. Guard them. Because the world will always demand more, your attention, your energy, your focus. But very few will offer the same in return. So, learn to say no without guilt. Walk away from conversations that drain your joy. Create distance from people who only appear when they need something. Protecting your energy isn't about building walls, it's about setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries that allow your soul to breathe. Think of your phone battery. When it's low, you don't keep using it until it dies. You plug it in, you recharge it, you protect its power. But when your emotional or mental battery runs low, what do? You keep giving, keep showing up for everyone but yourself, and then wonder why you feel unseen, exhausted, disconnected. You cannot light someone else's world if your own light is fading. So protect your light, protect your peace. There is wisdom in stepping back. There is strength in silence. There is maturity in saying not today. Sometimes silence is the most powerful language in the world. It says, I have learned what I needed to learn. I choose peace now. You don't need to announce your distance or explain why you've stopped showing up. Let silence do the talking, because silence carries truth without bitterness, wisdom without argument, and growth without explanation. When people take your kindness for granted, your first instinct may be to explain, to prove your worth, to get closure. But have you noticed? The more you chase clarity, the more peace runs away. Peace doesn't come from getting them to understand you. Peace comes from you understanding yourself. So, my dear friends, remember this. When you stop chasing people, peace starts chasing you. When you stop running after validation, you start walking towards self-respect. And when you stop proving your worth, the right people will feel it, not because you spoke louder, but because you stood quieter. Don't fear being missed. Let them miss you. Don't chase to be valued. Step back to be seen. And never forget, your energy is not meant to be wasted trying to be understood. It's meant to be protected so it can be used to understand yourself and serve others who truly value you. Because when you protect your energy, you protect your peace. And when you protect your peace, you protect your purpose. My dear friends, have you ever noticed the more you chase someone's approval, the more power you give them to define your worth? But the moment you choose to step back, to stay silent, to set boundaries without anger, something begins to change. That's when people start to see your strength. Because distance has a way of teaching respect that words never can. When you stop showing up for those who take you for granted, they start to feel the quiet truth of what you once brought into their lives. They remember your kindness, your stability, your laughter, your presence, and suddenly they realize something is missing, something valuable, something irreplaceable. And that realization doesn't come from arguments or explanations, it comes from absence. Respect, my friends, often blooms in silence in the space created when you stop forcing it. Many people confuse respect with fear. They think, if I raise my voice, I'll be heard. If I dominate, I'll be obeyed. But true respect never comes from control. It comes from calm. It comes from grace under pressure. It comes from the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need validation to know their value. You don't earn respect by reacting. You earn it by not reacting. By knowing when to walk away, when to stay silent, and when to let your actions speak louder than your explanations. When you stop proving yourself, you start preserving yourself. You stop wasting energy trying to make others see your worth, and instead, you begin to live in a way that naturally reflects it. People can feel that energy, the quiet confidence, the grounded peace in your presence. And the irony is, the moment you stop needing respect from others, that's when they start giving it to you. There is a deep dignity in restraint, the ability to walk away without bitterness, to stay calm when provoked, to say less and mean more. That's what separates those who are merely noticed from those who are truly respected. When you stop arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding you, when you stop trying to fix those who never valued your effort, you shift from seeking respect to commanding it. And that shift happens quietly without announcement. So don't chase respect. Don't beg anyone to see your worth. Let your boundaries speak. Let your peace do the talking. Let your absence reveal what your presence was worth. Because desperation pushes people away, but dignity pulls them closer. And when you begin to choose distance over desperation, silence over shouting, calm over chaos, that's when you rise. That's when you earn the kind of respect that doesn't fade with time. The less you try to prove your worth, the more others will feel it. The less you explain yourself, the clearer your truth becomes. Stand tall in your quiet strength. Let people see by the way you carry yourself that you are not afraid to lose anyone, because you have already found yourself. And that, my friends, is where true respect begins. When you step back and focus on your own growth, something incredible happens. The world starts to notice even if you say nothing at all. People who once overlooked you begin to wonder, what changed? They start to sense a different energy in you, not louder, but deeper. That's the beauty of growth done in silence. You don't have to post it. You don't have to prove it. You simply evolve quietly, steadily, gracefully, until your transformation speaks louder than your presence ever did. There comes a point in every relationship where words stop mattering. You've explained enough, you've tried enough, you've given enough, and still some people fail to see your worth. That's when wisdom whispers. Stop explaining, start evolving. Because those who truly understand you won't need endless explanations, and those who don't won't believe them anyway. When you chase people, you lose your balance. You begin to shrink yourself just to fit into spaces you were never meant to occupy. You start bending your boundaries to keep others close. You start compromising your peace just to feel relevant. But every time you do that, you drift further from your true self. Because real love, real friendship, real connection, they never require you to beg. They never make you prove your worth. They flow naturally when you're aligned with who you are, not when you're desperate to be chosen. The truth is simple. Whatever you chase runs. It's human nature. The more you try to hold on, the more people pull away. But when you stop chasing, when you slow down, when you turn inward, you start to attract. You begin to draw in people who are aligned with your peace, not your pain. That's when you realize attraction has nothing to do with appearance. It's all about energy. Calm energy pulls. Desperate energy pushes. When you stop forcing connections, the right ones begin to flow toward you effortlessly. Don't be afraid to walk away from those who make you feel like you're too much or not enough. Don't try to convince anyone to see your value. You don't need to beg to be understood. You don't need to chase to be loved. Just become so centered, so grounded, so full within yourself that those meant for you are naturally drawn to your peace. That's the difference between chasing and attracting. One drains your soul, the other fills it. When you chase, you hand over your power. When you attract, you reclaim it. You begin to understand that you are not meant to run after people to keep them in your life. You're meant to walk in your truth and allow those who can meet you there to stay. The rest will drift away, and that's okay. Because every time someone leaves, it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's life clearing the path for something better aligned with your peace. There is freedom in letting go. There is beauty in trusting that what's meant for you will never require you to chase it. If something needs force, fear, or pressure to survive, it's not love, it's attachment. Real love stays when you stop holding it. Real respect grows when you stop demanding it. Real peace begins when you stop proving your worth. You don't lose people by walking away. You lose only those who never deserve to stay. The ones who truly care will meet you halfway. They'll value your effort. They'll respect your distance. So stop running after what doesn't run toward you. Stop lowering your standards for temporary attention. Stop begging for connection in places that drain your spirit. Because when you choose peace over pressure, calm over chaos, and distance over desperation, you don't lose anything. You gain yourself. And that, my dear friends, is the greatest respect of all the respect that begins within. My dear friends, life has a beautiful rhythm, a balance between presence and absence, between giving and holding back. Sometimes we think love means being there all the time, constantly, proving, constantly showing up. But love, like music, needs pauses to create harmony. Without space, even the sweetest melody becomes noise. So when you step back, when you allow silence to enter, you're not abandoning anyone. You are creating room for real appreciation to grow. Your absence gives others a chance to see your value, and it gives you a chance to see who truly values you. Remember, not every connection deserves constant access to your energy. Your time, your attention, your love, these are sacred gifts. Don't hand them out to those who treat them casually. Let your silence speak when words fail. Let your distance remind others what your presence truly meant. If someone values you, they will make their way back not because you chased them, but because they felt your worth in your absence. And if they don't return, thank them silently because they've made space for those who will. So let them miss you, not out of pride, but out of peace. Let them realize that your presence was never ordinary, it was a blessing. Because one day, they will look around and see what you always brought: calm in chaos, warmth in coldness, light in their darkness. And by then, you'll already be walking in peace, not needing to be missed to know your worth, but grateful that your value speaks even in your silence.